slope. Let's find the slope. Denote the points as x1, y1, and x2, y2. Please write y2 minus y1 as a practice all times. And then 47.8 minus 38.9 over 30 minus 20. So the denominator is 10. What about the numerator? That's a 9. 8 from 6 is an 8. Let me know if this is 8.9 divided by 10 or 0.89. Without a measurement unit, it makes no sense. Let's think about the measurement unit. As you see, this is a ratio. What is the measurement unit for the top? What do we measure the numerator in? What are these?
Percentage of variance.
Excellent. What is this?
Years.
Years. So the measurement unit will have to consist of 2 units. A measurement unit for the top over the measurement unit for the bottom. Always. So when you call me, I'm driving, and you ask me, what's your speed? I'm not going to say 60. I'm going to say 60 miles per hour. Right? 2 measurement units. One coming from the distance and one coming from the time. So what do I write?
Percentage per year.
Excellent. So let's interpret this because this is very important. Not just a number. What does it mean? It appears that for this age group, every year, the percentage of unmarried women is increasing by 0.89%. That's the interpretation. Okay. We determined the slope, but we haven't finished. We haven't created the function yet, the equation. So, am I given the y-intercept? No. So I have to use y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, where the slope is 0.89. And choose any point you like. We should always choose smaller numbers, but it doesn't matter. And we have calculators, so it's not a problem. Which point would you like to use? Okay, so then you write 20 and 38.9. And then we have y minus 38.9 equals 0.89, x minus 20. I have to perform all operations, and I have to solve for y. So let's do just that. So I have 0.89x minus, and I only have 1. And then plus 38.9. Let's do this one more time to make sure it's clear. I multiplied this by this, and I got this. I multiplied 0.89 by negative 20, and correct my mistakes if I didn't get the correct answer, please. And then I added 38.9. So 0.89x plus, and I think I see 21.1. Please check my numbers, always. So we already did, this was part B, to write the equation, we did. Use the linear function, which is this, to predict the percentage of never married American females ages 25 to 29 in 2020. So this was actually already part B. This was part A. But in part B, we were asked to solve. We did. So now in part C, they're asking us to predict. Now we are going outside of the range where this data came from. So the prediction could be flawed, could have a flaw. What could be the problem? The function may not be valid in 2020, right? It was probably valid between this and this, 1980 and 2000, but who knows whether it's still valid in 2020. So we have to be cautious. We have to, caution ourselves or the answer, assuming that the trend continues. So I have to write that. Assuming, in other words, assuming that the function is still valid. assuming the function f of x 0.89x plus 21.1 is still valid. I don't know. It may or may not. Once I get outside of the range of the data, I don't know what can happen. So what do we do? How do we determine, or how do we predict, assuming the model still holds, how do we predict what could happen? What could the percentage be of females between 25 and 29 who may be still not married in 2020? Yes, very good. X is the number of years since 1980. I cannot plug in the name of a year in anything. So f of, excellent, which is the same thing with y, same thing. 0.89 multiplied by 40 and plus 21.1. And let's see, when I multiply, I get 0.89 multiplied by 40 and plus 21.1. I got 56.7% if the trend continues. Very good. I'm sorry? I just want you to know that, so when a study is conducted, let's say between 2000 and 2010, using the study to predict outside of 2020, like 10 years later, it's iffy. Because we don't know for sure whether the model still holds. That's all I was saying with that. Okay. So now we still have, yes, I do have 15 minutes. Let's talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. On page 279, problem 10. A line is passing through the point -1, 3 and is parallel to the line whose equation is 3x minus 2y minus 5 equals 0. Any questions on the previous problem? Anything? I don't want to rush you. If you have anything, please let me know and I'll go back. Okay, so here's the idea. This is not, I'm not graphing exact anything. I'm just giving you the idea. We have an equation. We have a line whose equation we're interested in finding. And we have two pieces of information. We know two things about this. This is the first one. Somewhere along the line, I have -1, 3. That's the first piece. And I'm also told that this line, whose equation I'm trying to find, is parallel to this line. Okay. So this is the line 3x minus 2y minus 5 equals 0. The question is asking us, knowing that the line passes through this and is parallel to this, find the equation. Find y equals mx plus b. Any ideas? Say it again. No? Yes. So the idea here is, what I know about this function, I know y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Why? Because this is not the y-intercept. So this number will be -1, this number will be 3. The only missing piece is that. So how do I possibly determine the slope of this line, knowing that it's parallel to the red line? And we go back to when we refreshed our memory on that. And we said the two lines are parallel if they have the same slope. Or if they are parallel, they have to have the same slope. So therefore, I'm looking at this line. And as Ben already said, solve for y. Okay, well, why would I solve this for y? I don't want to waste my time. Why would I solve for y? To find the slope of the red line. Okay, assuming I found the slope of the red line and it's 10. What is the slope of the unknown line? 10. So the whole problem reduces basically to finding the slope of the given line and carrying it over to the other line, because that's the rule for parallel lines. So I'll write the equation 3x minus 2y minus 5 equals 0. In this format, I cannot identify the slope. So I will solve for y, moving 3x and moving 5. So it was positive, it becomes negative. It was negative, it becomes positive. Still not there yet. I need to get rid of this. How do I get rid of this? Dividing both sides by -2. Each and every term. So let's slow down for a moment. Let's talk about this, and we will finish it up in a second. Okay. I was given a point and a line. I was told you have to find the equation of the line that passes to this point and is parallel to the given line. I look at the point and I say, I cannot use y equals mx plus b because this is not 0, 3. So therefore, I already wrote the point slope form, and under y1 I wrote 3, and under x1 I wrote -1. And I realize that I'm missing this piece. So how do I determine it? My only chance is to find the slope of the red line, because it will equal the slope of the line I don't have. Does it make sense? Please ask if you have any questions. So I wrote the equation of the red line. I kept -2y on this side. I moved -3x and I moved 5. And now I'm ready to divide both sides by -2 in order to find the slope. I cannot read the slope just yet because this is not solved for y. So y equals 3 over 2x minus 5 over 2. -3 divided by -2. 5 divided by -2. Can anyone identify now the slope of the red line? Indeed. Can anyone now identify the slope of the unknown line? 3 over 2. Why 3 over 2? Because lines are parallel. Were you able to keep up with this? Anyone? Okay. Say it again, please. Which one? From here, here? -3 divided by -2. 5 divided by -2. -2y divided by -2. So now I compare this to this. This is the y-intercept and this is the slope of the red line. I only care about its slope. So now I have to solve this equation for y. Y minus 3 equals 3/2 times x plus 1. So y minus 3 equals 3/2 x plus 1. And we have to solve for y. I will distribute 3/2. And now I will add 3. Now I have no choice. I have to work with fractions. The least common denominator is, bless you. So there is no adjustment for 3, but 1 was multiplied by 2, so it needs to be multiplied. The numerator needs to be multiplied by 2 as well. So 3 plus 6. So this is 9/2. So the equation is 3/2 x plus 9/2. Any questions? Any questions? I would like to work on the same type of problem, but with perpendicular lines now. Or if you'd like another problem with parallel. Or you want to look at perpendicular now. Perfect. Okay. So let's say 12. Same page, 279. It passes through 5, negative 9, and is perpendicular. This is the symbol for perpendicular to the line whose equation is x plus 7y minus 12 equals 0. I'm not graphing exact anything. I'm only giving you the idea. So this is a line whose equation we're interested in determining. We don't have the equation of this line. But we know two pieces of information. One, that somewhere along the line we have 5, negative 9, which is not the y-intercept. Also, we know that this line is perpendicular to this line. Okay. It forms 90-degree angles, 4 90-degree angles. And this equation is x plus 7y minus 12 equals 0. I would immediately write y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, where 5 is x1 and negative 9 is 9,1. But again, I hit a block or roadblock. I don't have m. Is there a way of determining m, the slope? Exactly what we did before. What did we do a few minutes ago? Yes. So we solve this equation for y and identify the slope. So careful. Tell me what to do. I'm going to copy the equation. So I have x plus 7y minus 12 equals 0. And I'm trying to solve for y. What do I have to do first? Yes. Excellent. 7y equals negative x plus 12. I always keep it in descending order. It's very important to have it in descending order. Okay, so then, excellent. So y equals negative 1 over 7x plus 12 over 7. So let's call this slope M2, the second line. Can anyone identify the slope of this second line? This is the slope of this line is negative 1/7 right here. So now the question is, I need to find M1. Exactly. How do we know that? Here's how we know. If this one is negative 1 over 7, this one must be 7. Only 7 times negative 1 over 7 will give us negative 1. So we determine M2, it's negative 1 over 7, therefore this must be 7. Only the product of 7, I'm going to write it. 7 times negative 1 over 7 is negative 1. So M1 times negative 1 over 7 equals negative 1. This must be 7. Only 7 times negative 1 over 7 equals negative 1. So therefore, all I have to do is just go back and replace the slope by 7 and perform the operations. Y minus negative 9 will be y plus 9, and 7 and x minus 5. Yes, I will distribute 7 and I will subtract 9. Seven x minus 35 and minus 9. So this is y equals 7x minus 44.